Welcome to African American History Lesson 11. In this lesson we will explain the significance of African contributions to the exploration of the territory that would eventually become the United States, Mexico, and Canada. Christopher Columbus and other European explorers, such as John Cabot, Jacques Cartier and Henry Hudson, are generally credited with first encountering the land and people of North America. However, in the early 16th century, some free and enslaved Africans familiar with Iberian culture journeyed with Europeans in their earliest explorations of the Americas. These Africans were known as Ladinos. Ladinos were part of a generation known as Atlantic Creoles. Atlantic Creoles were Africans who worked as intermediaries before the predominance of chattel slavery. Their familiarity with multiple languages, cultural norms, and commercial practices granted them a measure of social mobility. Ladinos were essential to the efforts of European powers laying claim to indigenous lands. Black participation in America's colonization resulted from Spain's early role in the slave trade and the presence of enslaved and free Africans in the parties of Spanish explorers who laid claim to a territory which includes modern-day Florida, South Carolina, and Georgia. In addition to the role of enslaved laborers, working largely in mining and agriculture to produce profit for Europeans, some Africans worked as free skilled workers and artisans. Many people are also not aware of the other roles that Africans played in the exploration and colonization of the Americas. First, some were employed as conquistadors or fighters who participated in the work of conquering new territory, often in hopes of gaining their freedom. Juan Garrido, a conquistador born in the Kingdom of Congo, moved to Lisbon, Portugal. A free man, he became the first known African to arrive in North America when he explored present-day Florida during a Spanish expedition in 1513. Garrido maintained his freedom by serving in the Spanish military forces, participating in efforts to conquer indigenous populations. Estevanico, also called Esteban, an enslaved African healer from Morocco, was forced to work in 1528 as an explorer and translator in Texas and in territory that became the southwestern United States. He was eventually killed by indigenous groups who were resisting Spanish colonialism. Sebastian Toral was an African conquistador who helped Spain to conquer the Yucatan territory in the 1530s and 40s. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, share, and leave a comment. Also, please consider subscribing to the channel at Quietly Radical on YouTube. Finally, join us for the next lesson where we will begin discussing the departure zones in Africa and the slave trade in the United States.